Namaste. So, we have finished the first installment of Shankaracharya's Prakarana-śāstra, or Prakarana-grantha, and that is, of course, Ātmabodhaḥ. So now we're going to continue with the next in the series, which is, of course, Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. So before we begin, though, I think it's appropriate to say a few words about Śaṅkara himself. Now, I've been delving into the biographical works, and Śaṅkara, I think there's no other way to describe him but as an incarnation of Śiva. He only stayed in this world for 32 years. And in all of that time, that less amount of time, he made so many wonderful literary works, traveled all over India, and established 4 or 5 big temples, depending on who's keeping score, and made many important disciples. So they have notated in his biography how throughout his life he was not only extraordinary as a scholar and writer, but also as a sadhu, and so many miracles happened. I'm not going to go into all the stories. I've included a link in the video description to his biography if you want to read it. You can get all the details from there. But what I want to cover today is his literary contribution, which comes down to us today and is still accessible. Because of its great value, people have taken great care to preserve his original works. So they are still available to us today, even 1,000 years after his appearance and disappearance. So why is that? Well, the Vedic literature is based on the Prasthanatraya, the 3 paths, the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita. Śaṅkara wrote amazing commentaries on all of these, and the language he used is described as prasanna gambhira, deep and clear. And prasanna also means ecstatic, beautiful. I mean, almost shocking in its revelatory capacity to bring out the truth. So this is the man whose literature we are studying in Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. And he is therefore our guru. You know, there is a wonderful shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Let me read it. Savai satkarmanang sakshad dvijater ihasang bhavaha adyonga yatra shraminang yatahang jnanado guruhu. My dear friend, he who gives a person his physical birth is his first spiritual master, and he who initiates him as a twice-born Brahmana and engages him in religious duties is indeed more directly his spiritual master. But the person who bestows transcendental knowledge upon the members of all the spiritual orders of society is one's ultimate spiritual master. Indeed, he is as good as my own self. This is spoken by Lord Krishna. So one of the planks in the platform of Shankaracharya's philosophy is that Vishnu and Śiva are one. There is no difference between them. Just one is the unmanifest and one is the manifest Ishvara, controller of the universe. So in this way, see, Śaṅkarācārya ameliorated all the differences and difficulties amongst the different sects of the Vedic followers in India. And he gave us a body of knowledge that is just unsurpassed in its scope, breadth, and depth. What was that word? Prasanna Gambhira. It's wonderful, exciting, and opens so many doors, but it's also deep. You can study it again and again and always find new nuances, new meanings, and deeper interpretations. In fact, this is recommended. You should read these works by Śaṅkarācārya in the original, if possible, and certainly study their meanings and commentaries on them and the points that Shankara is making, because these are absolutely still as valuable today as they were when he first wrote them. So a word about the translation. The commentary that we're going to be studying along with the text is by His Holiness Chandrasekhara Bhāratī of the Sringeri Math, the original temple established by Shankara. So he lived up until 1954, and he left, among other literary works, a beautiful commentary on Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. So the Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ is so well known in India, at least amongst the Advaitins, that this is probably the most extensive and deepest philosophical work on Vedanta. And there is one more that, if I live long enough, I want to do, and that's the Sahasra Upadesha. It's the only work by Shankara that is longer than Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ. But it's more of a practical work as to how one should be a sadhu and live and study and meditate in order to attain enlightenment. This Vivekacūḍāmaṇiḥ is more about the philosophy and the practices, not the actual practicing, but how one should practice in order to realize Brahman. And this is an extensive work. It's over 600 shlokas long, and we're going to be going through the whole thing, again, if I live so long, and trying to bring out the details and nuances given in the commentaries, along with the Vedic and Upanishadic references that support and confirm the work. So this is going to be an extensive series. Part 1 alone is a bit longer than Ātmabodhaḥ in its entirety. And there's going to be in like 9 or 10 parts. So this is going to be a long study, a long immersion in Advaita philosophy, Kevala Advaita, unmixed, pure non-duality. So we urge you to stick with us, even if your favorite path is something else, because this Advaita study is actually the root of all paths and also their destination. So we hope you enjoy this series. We certainly wish you the best, and that you may profit from this knowledge and gain that realization that takes you to that place where there is no coming back in this material world.
Om Tat Sat, Om Shakti Om.